From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Ticats This Week with RJ Broadhead and Luke Tasker.
Always great to have you tune into the Ticats Audio Network. Always great to have you listening to Ticats This Week, and this is a big one. We're at Labor Day already, and it is an important game for the Tiger Cats to stay in the hunt in the East Division. It is sold out at Tim Hortons Field. I'm so excited for this atmosphere, Luke, but as a player, what is it like to play the Labor Day Classic at Tim Hortons Field with that crowd?
It is a great experience. It's a great CFL tradition. My first one was the first game in Tim Hortons Field in 2014. And the crowd is electric. And that day there was all sorts of special things happening. And it's the biggest one of the year until you get to playoffs, and it really feels that way. And interestingly, this year, like many of them are, it's a 1 p.m. game that has its own sort of atmosphere as well, with the sun shining and sort of the daytime energy. Really can't wait for kickoff for this one.
And that's a great promo there, Luke. Don't forget, kickoff's at 1 o'clock. Luke and I will have the call, a pregame show at noon with Andy and Bubba, and of course Courtney and Mike will have Ticats game day prior to that. They'll be on in the morning, and we're still waiting for some depth charts, but Ticats game day, that'll be in the morning on the Ticats Audio Network. Courtney, Stephen, and Mike Daly will have you all updated on the lineups, so we're all excited to see what those lineups will look like. We're excited for the game. We're excited for halftime. The Labor Day Classic on Monday will feature award-winning country artist Tim Hicks performing at halftime. It's presented by WeatherTech. Tim Hicks, halftime on Labor Day, Tim Hortons Field. He's got a new album out. It's called Talk to Time. He's on a 0 to 60 tour. I'm so excited for this halftime even, not just the game, and there's so many other great things going on.
Yes, the show within the show. And fans, also remember that before you head to the Labor Day game, help the Purelator Tackle Hunger Initiative and bring some non-perishable food items to the game to support the Hamilton Food Share and help us tackle hunger in Hamilton. A lot of exciting stuff as we get ready for this big game.
Yeah, it's sold out, so should be able to really help out the Purelator Tackle Hunger Initiative. True. And how about Tim Hicks? I see you in your cowboy boots. A little Dodge out of hell, little whiskey does. Like he's going to have that place rocking.
Yeah, it'll be great. You know what? That's a great reminder. I'm going to wear my cowboy boots for the Labor Day game. It's a good day for it.
Yes, yeah. I should go get some. I used to have some.
I'll bring up another pair
in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, really? You had to have been born in cowboy boots up there.
Yeah, pretty much. But you move to Toronto and things change.
Yeah, yep. All your friends call you a city boy after that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You grow up in a farm and that disappears.
Yeah.
So here we are, Luke, 11 games into the season. Ticats are 3-8, 3 wins. And, I did a bit of a deep dive on it. All 3 wins were by 7 points or less. They trailed, the Tiger Cats did, in all 3 of those wins. So you could argue maybe they couldn't have 3 wins if things had gone a little bit differently. 8 losses. 4 of those losses were by 5 points or less. They led entering the fourth quarter in 4 of those losses. So you could say maybe they should have fewer losses if it was a different scenario. But the reality is the record is 3-8, and they're still in the hunt for the East Division title. How are you feeling about things entering Labor Day?
I feel a bit in the unknown, actually, RJ, and we should all feel that way because nobody knows but these guys in the locker room what the sort of mojo is of the team and what kind of energy they have as they're preparing for this game and as they're getting ready, what kind of belief they have, and you hope that they see things sort of like that statistic that you just read, sort of the story that tells, meaning things, every single game could have gone one way or another. It comes down to having, what if they could have made more plays, or what if they could have made less mistakes, less errors. And there's no better time than now to say, let's go out and capitalize in the red zone, something they've struggled with. Let's go out and, dare I say, turn the ball over a little bit less. Something
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. Maybe can they go out there and take the ball away more? Something they've also struggled with. Can they eliminate some of those factors, capitalize on some more of their opportunities? Because at times they've done those things, right? I mean, at times they've made it look easy on offense. We've seen the pass breakups by the defense. Can they get a little bit more pressure on McLeod Bethel-Thompson and force the issue here on Labor Day with that pass rush? And so, I just feel anxious. I'm just anticipating the game and looking forward to the contest, knowing that this is a team that's good enough to win this game. It's going to come down to those factors I just mentioned and which team's going to capitalize more often.
Yes, for sure. You're listening to Ticats This Week with RJ Broadhead and Luke Tasker on the Ticats Audio Network. We're getting you set up for the Labor Day Classic between the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts. Tiger Cats have 7 games remaining. So 4 of them at home, 3 of them are on the road. Surely in those final 3, they can find a road win. 0 for 6. They need a road win. Toronto, their remaining schedule is pretty interesting. Just 2 home games left. They don't have any home games in September. 6 games on the road. So on Labor Day, they start a 4-game road trip. So here's who they've got. Of course, Hamilton. 2 against Ottawa, and then they have to travel to Calgary. And Ottawa is hanging around in that East Division 2 with a couple of games coming up against Toronto. They're not out of it. It pretty much is going along the path that no one in the East Division is going to have that cruise control to the end of the season, be able to rest players. It seems like it's going to be a battle right to the very end.
That may be the case, and I would argue that's probably better for the league. It's the games that don't matter, are going to draw less attention and less, the storyline is sort of less interesting, and so as we get, I love, if October is exciting, if October is filled with CFL games that matter, as the weather starts to change, that is one of the best months of football. And so it is looking that way. Amazing that, a month ago it was looking like Ottawa was going to really fall behind, the other 3 in the East, and they're not out of the mix either. And so Labor Day and Toronto's back-to-back games are really going to be interesting, and their schedule, I wonder, will be the most telling over this next month.
Sports is littered with stories of players or coaches in a time where the team really needs a pick-me-up, that somebody has a speech or says something that everybody wants to go out and play and knock down a wall to get that victory and do what they can. Coach O speaks from the heart. Would he be the type of guy to give a speech like that? Would there be a player? Can you think of a time in your career where you were a part of a speech like that, or did you give one?
I just can't help but think of, any given Sunday, the inches we need are everywhere around us.
We all watch the movies.
Oh, yeah. It's, those movies, it takes months for those scripts to get built, right? And when somebody really just speaks from the heart and is super authentic, it probably wouldn't make a movie script, but you can tell, and it can make a difference. I do remember a couple. I remember some teammates, and some guys have a gift for it. Some guys have a gift for whatever they say is going to get listened to.
Yes.
But one of the worst things is to be inauthentic, right? And so you don't want to do that. Two that I remember pretty well. This wasn't pre-game. This was as we went into the playoffs. But pre Tim Hortons Field, we were in the basement at Jarvis in our interim facilities while Tim Hortons was being built, and Ken Austin brought in a stack of cash, and it was all the money that you make. It sounds crass almost, it sounds like people are like, oh, you shouldn't play for the money. He brought in the whole stack of cash that you make, and he said, and it was in 20s, and he goes, this is how much you make for if we get into the playoffs, and then if you win that game, this is what you get. And then if you go to the Grey Cup, here's what you get. And if you win it, here's what you get. And that was kind of, everyone's kind of like, that's kind of sweet. That's pretty cool. And I remember him saying, like, money's not all we play for, but it's in the top 5. I thought that was pretty well said, I thought. And then I remember, in the opposite end of the spectrum, or whatever, somewhere else on the spectrum, I should say, I remember June Jones during the week of playoffs, and we were playing pretty good football at this time. And probably most people think, oh, they're in there grinding and watching film. We were watching, YouTube videos of this is in our meetings before practice. And June was an unbelievable leader, in my opinion, as to how his energy and his tone was, guys, you guys are good. Let's just go out and play and have fun. Like, just run and play free. If June is going to over teach to the point where it slowed you down, that was his greatest sin he could have committed in his mind. And so, he was a guy who just like, hey, go out there and give it your all. And he was definitely one to have the players more so speak and stuff. So yeah, different kinds of attitudes and energies. And sometimes it's those guys who don't say as much, who, when it really matters, and, who are ready to kind of fire you up. It comes in all different forms is maybe the best way I can put it.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Money's a great motivator. I think that was genius.
That's right.
I'd go through a wall and get the cash.
That's right. Speaking of money, RJ. This week at Labor Day, tell the listeners what's happening at Labor Day here.
Well, again, sold out, and you want to talk 50-50 in a sold out Tim Hortons Field. The Labor Day Classic 50-50 jackpot is a guaranteed $50,000. So tickets are on sale now. Brought to you by the Hamilton Bulldogs Foundation. License number RAF 1235466. Monday, you could win $50,000. Visit ticats.ca/5050. And who knows? Sold out Tim Hortons. People going to ticats.ca/5050. Maybe it's more than 50 big ones.
Right. Just guaranteed 50. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Very exciting. Well, I can't wait to hear them announce that one in the stadium.
Absolutely. So 3-8. It's not the record the Tiger Cats want. I was going through some of the adversity they've had. 2 quarterbacks hurt. We saw a bit of that last season too. Braylon Addison, arguably their number 1 receiver. Simone Lawrence has been out. Seontae Evans, leading the league in knockdowns. He's been out. Lawrence Woods, so exciting to watch him on kick and punt returns. Curtis Newton, Nick Cross, 2 special teams captains and stars. Tyler Turnowski was just starting to come into his own, and he's battling an injury. And the practice roster, as Coach O calls it, the waiting room, it has been pretty much everybody in that waiting room has been inserted in the lineup. They've had to bring back players who they've cut earlier in the season because of all these injuries. But those statistics I gave earlier, they're in every game. The effort is never questioned. They just have to be able to finish these games. It's the entertainment business, and you cannot say the Tiger Cats games have not been entertaining. They've been exciting, but it is also the win business. And I got a weird feeling that good things are coming for the Tiger Cats, because it seems if something could go wrong, it has gone wrong, and they're still in it. So I don't know. Like, how are you feeling when you really look at everything they've had to battle through, and bringing in players and all the players they brought in have done a great job?
I'm just afraid that there might be some some logical fallacies that we're committing there. Like, because so many things have gone wrong does not necessarily mean that more things won't go wrong. And I've felt since...
Come on, that's not how luck works. Eventually it turns.
True, you're true about luck. That is interesting. I've said since the Edmonton game early on, Edmonton started off struggling in the season, and it was like, okay, this is gonna go right the right way. And the Montreal game, and every week it's sort of been like, well, they got to get it right now, And the truth is that the unfortunate thing about sports is that you do get not comfortable losing as in like you like it, but as in you can't really see any other way out of it. And teams have to break that mold and really believe that they are playing good enough. And that's not in a sense for the Ticats, at least. That's not in a sense like believe it, even though it's not true. Like, belief is making it true. By believing it, it's making it true. It's a real, the emotional and the psychology of the individual players is unbelievably impactful to the team's energy and their ability to pull off a win. And so, yeah, it seems like everything, like they've already had all the bad, so it must be time for good. But that comes down to players making plays. And so, I gotta think with the turnovers and the on-field mistakes and things that those and they have at times trended in the right direction, but then all of a sudden you have a 6-1 turnover ratio game against Toronto.
Yeah.
So, you've kind of fall off the wagon there for a second. But some of those things have moved in the right direction. You think, okay, got to get that right, but the injuries sometimes can't be overcome. So it depends. It depends what we see in this lineup as we over the days as we approach Labor Day. What tools are they gonna be able to have, and how well are those guys gonna be able to execute?
How close are we to the must win, in your opinion? And I've got a Coach O story afterwards from practice.
So,
I think your answer is going to be the same as his.
Yeah, well, let me guess. 50% of the teams lose, and we're got
that one. But also, he rebounded with a question saying, "If we lose, are we out?" And of course, they're not out. So your argument that it isn't.
That's right.
A
smart man,
win.
Coach O. I love it,
But
and
would
also
make life and things a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and so would all the other 8 have too. I mean, it's gonna you're not plateauing here. If you lose, you're sliding backwards downhill, right? And that mountain ahead of you is getting taller and taller with every loss, to the point where eventually, if the mistakes aren't corrected, they're gonna be playing some games that will not be for a Grey Cup. So, but no. I am with Coach O 100% of the way there. You can't until you can't, and you have to when you have to. And right now, it's not a must win. To your point, much harder if you lose.
Right. If Tiger Cats don't win, though, first place in the East Division, again, not mathematically impossible, but logically unlikely that they would be able to get to first place, losing another one to the Argos. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and then you're big time relying on the rest of the schedule against the Toronto to have an impact on your ability to get first, and second's probably going to be where they'll have to be. So it's time to start playing really solid football all through 4 quarters.
So we don't have the depth charts, but we have to talk about the quarterback situation. Both Matt Schultz and Dane Evans were banged up in the last game against the Argos. I was at practice. Jamie Newman was taking the first team reps, and he had an amazing deep ball, perfectly placed into the arms of David Ungerer. It was a beautiful play. And really, Jamie Newman, we don't know if he will be the starting quarterback yet, but it can't really hurt to have him take the first reps in practice, right? Because it will prepare him. It can only develop him. He's a rookie this year, and Dane, or I don't know if Matt Schultz will be ready to go, but if Dane is ready to go, he was dressed in practice. He doesn't necessarily need the first team reps on day 1 or 2 of the practice week. Yeah,
and I think from a front office standpoint, they're gonna keep the pressure on, and they're gonna have another answer. If, let's say, turnovers continue to happen, I would think that if one of those guys, Schultz or Dane, is healthy enough, that they'll go in, but we'll have to see. And the team, for good reason, keeps that close to their vest until it's time to release that. And, you'd hope, Jamie Newman is, he got some preseason experience, and that was kind of the extent of it. He's been in very, very small spurts. So yeah, the more practice time, the better. If there's a chance that he's gonna be in charge of the offense for an extended period of time at Labor Day.
All right. So Labor Day, Monday, game at 1 o'clock. Luke and I will have the call on the Ticats Audio Network. Tiger Cats have won 3 in a row at Tim Hortons Field. You could argue they should be 5-0 at home. Those games against Calgary and Edmonton earlier in the year, they had big leads, but they have played very well at Tim Hortons Field. The crowd was significant in their last home game against the Argos. It was loud. They were impactful. What are you thinking for Labor Day? Can the Tiger Cats do it? What's your prediction?
I think we saw the Ticats at their best in the previous Toronto game at Tim Hortons Field, and I do think that they will do it again. It has been, I think, has it been 9 straight Labor Day Classic wins? I believe 2012 was the last one, minus the COVID year, something like that. So, this is the game. This is the game for Ticats, man. It's a great day for it. And you got to think, as an Argonaut, There's a little bit of that too. There's a little bit you got to get over your own psychology of saying the Argonauts never win this game, and conspiracy theories. TSN doesn't want us to win this game, and all kinds of stuff in the league, whatever. But no, this is the week for it, and I do think the Ticats have what it takes to win this one.
All right, so it's still a couple of days before the Labor Day Classic, so we don't have the depth charts, but be sure to tune into the Ticats Audio Network, ticats.ca, for Ticats Game Day with Courtney Stephen and Mike Daly. That'll be the morning on Monday prior to the Labor Day Classic. They'll have the depth charts, and they do a great job of really finding some key matchups and stuff to watch for or listen for during the game. So be sure to catch Courtney and Mike on Ticats Game Day on Labor Day. Of course, the pregame starts in the morning. The kickoff is at 1 o'clock with myself and Luke. I am so excited for this one. It is an important point of the season, and it is crucial that the Tiger Cats win. So get your rest Sunday night. We got an early start. Let's have a great call, and maybe it's another Tiger Cats win.
We'll see you there, man. I am excited.
Awesome. That's Ticats This Week. Thank you so much for listening on the Ticats Audio Network.
Monday, Tim Hortons Field. WeatherTech is pleased to present Tim Hicks. This year's Labor Day Classic will feature a special halftime concert performance featuring award-winning country artist Tim Hicks. Presented by WeatherTech, Tim Hicks. Halftime on Labor Day in the Hammer.